Hey, my Legion, how y'all doing today? I'm here today to do another film franchise, and this is for the House movies. And it starts out simple enough, and then the House movie series gets a little bit strange, and I'll be to explain very soon. Now, in the '80s, there was a film company called New World Pictures that did a lot of really cool movies, just like Callan did. That was really interesting seeing. They did the home. They did a lot of horror films. They put out the Italian film Demons, which I was a big fan of. Almost a Night of the Demons, completely different movie. Demons, the Italian film. They put out House, and they put out Vamp, and some other ones. And I know that they put out One in Dead or Alive and Death Before Dishonor. And House came out in, I believe, in '85. And when it first came out, I remember reading. I'll never forget this. It was a movie review in Showcase, because I remember we used to get Erie Times News. We used to have a subscription, get it every week, and every Thursday they'd have Showcase. And I always checked out the movie reviews, or I used to. Well, when I did have it, I did. And they had two movies. It was House and April Fool's Day that came out at the same time. And they said, these movies are junk, but spirited junk. Now, I always remember that review, and it carries over to when I was in basic training. Because, about a few weeks before I went in basic, I saw the movie Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. And I talked to this one guy that saw it too, in basic, and I said, "Did you like it?" And he said, "Well, I said it was kind of junky, but I kind of dug it, even though they had lots of. It was really bad. It was a really bad movie. It had lots of clips from the first one in it, but it was silly enough to be entertaining." And he said, "Yeah, it was junk." And I said, "It's junk, but spirited junk." So I got that from that. Now, the original House, I saw it again on YouTube over the weekend, and just I haven't seen it since we rented it. And it was cool because it had a bunch of TV stars that were really in very, very popular series at the time when it came out. William Catt starred in it, and he was most famous for The Greatest American Hero, a huge hit on ABC. Richard Mull's in it, and he was played Bull on Night Court, and he was in a ton of other horror films like Evil Speak and Dungeon Master. Even though Dungeon Master wasn't really a horror film. That was from one of the films that Charles Band did that went to theaters from Empire, along with I still want to see. I haven't seen. And Richard Mull was also the bad guy in Metal Storm: The Destruction of Jared Sin, which I would love to see again. I haven't seen that in a long time. And also George Wendt from Cheers. And it's weird because in House 2, the second story, they had Ratzenberger from Cheers also played the mailman. And this movie, House, they revolves around, the one guy, he had his aunt killed herself in the house. And he said, the house finally tricked me. And William Catt is an author, like a horror movie type author. And he said that he wanted to do like a thing about a book about his experiences in Nam. And Nam was actually a pretty big subject with Rambo and Platoon and stuff like that at the time. And he wanted to stay in the house because this one guy wanted to sell it, and he said, "No, I want to stay in the house, and it may help me with that." And he lost his son in the house, and his aunt that killed herself said that the house took him. And it goes through all these trials and tribulations. Some of them, it's still a pretty effective film. Some of the monsters are a little bit goofy looking, but I think it's in the spirit of the movie. Oh crap! Oh. Hi. Hi, sweetie. Oh no, what happened to my hair? I'm back. I'm at my sister's place. That first part of my House franchise series I did Thursday night. Now I'm on Saturday night. I had a whole bunch of things happen to me. I'm on vacation now. Friday morning I got picked up. I'm at my sister's now. I did a whole bunch of neat food reviews that you're going to be seeing throughout the week. I hope you all enjoy them. Now let's get back to the house movies. Now, the one thing, like I said, Aunt said that she was tricked by the house and she ended up killing herself. And, you see William Cat come back to the house, and he's a famous author. He wanted to go back and do stuff about Nam. And he said that place would be good solitude for him, because this one guy's trying to sell the house, the real estate agent, and it was the same guy who played the hotel manager in The Wall, Pink Floyd The Wall. That guy. And, he said, I'm not going to sell him, I want to stay here and do my work. And like I said, some of the monsters were goofy looking. I mean, it kind of like on the level of like, these weird heavy female things, like on the level of like Sigma the Sea Monster, like goofy monster looking thing. I don't think it wanted to be too heavy as far as the horror goes. I mean, well, it had some decent scares, and it's not hard R. It's not super gory, but there's gruesome things happening in it. And there's like limbs and stuff like that, but there's not a ton of blood. And it's done in a lot of tongue-in-cheek, but it's not till like later in the movie that you see more tongue-in-cheek stuff. And it has it's done by some of the people involved with Friday the 13th, including Sean S. Cunningham and directed by Steve Miner, who did the early stuff for Friday the 13th. And Henry Manfredi did the soundtrack for that one. And also Kane Hodder, who was most famously known for playing Jason in some of the Friday the 13th. I think he was in 6, 7, 8. I assume Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X. Those ones. And he wasn't in Freddy vs. Jason or the other ones after that. But he's most famous for playing Jason. But he was a stunt coordinator, because he's a stuntman. Because a lot of times, you see in the slasher films, it's just like a big, strong guy. Usually, like big, burly stuntmen play the killers, like Michael Myers or I assume Leatherface too, or in Jason Friday the 13th. Now, Robert Englund's not a stuntman. Well, he probably does some stuff, but he's not a stuntman. But he played Freddy Krueger, but that's different. I really enjoyed, and Richard Mall, there's one character in there, that, I'm losing my track of what I'm saying, because I went into this video. A lot of times with him, he played like, he was a good guy for a while, and then he ended up kind of being a bad guy. It's a very interesting film. Like I said, back in the 80s, they didn't rely on CGI. They relied on practical effects like animatronics, puppetry, makeup, latex. They still make makeup and latex, but there's so much CGI involved in some of these films now, the horror films. Some of that other stuff gets lost. They still rely on some makeup and latex and stuff like that. I don't think that will ever go away. But I really liked the original House film, and it was a big hit. They said it made $23 million, I think, at the box office. But it was a big hit at the time. But you have the thing in returns of 80s money, And also, New World Pictures also did Hellraisers, the first couple Hellraisers. I know they did the first one and the second one. I can't remember if they did the third one. I think the third and fourth, and where I think everything after that was covered by Dimension, which is a series of Miramax. But New World Pictures definitely did the first two, which is actually the best two in the series, as far as I'm concerned. I love the first House movie. That's a full-on 10 out of 10. Now, the next film is one that a lot of people hated. And that was House 2, The Second Story, including Fangoria. Fangoria ripped that all the shreds. And I remember seeing ads of it in like comic books and stuff like that, and it was a PG-13 movie, where the other one is R, but it wasn't like a hard R. It was like a modest R-rated film, but not like, a semi-modest R-rated film, if it's really explicit R-rated, it'd be different, but it wasn't. But this one was PG-13. I think it's more tried to be a little more family friendly. And like I said, a lot of people hate it. It came out, I remember seeing ads in comic books in 87. I heard 86, 87, and I didn't see it till I was in Fort Gordon, Georgia, at the military movie theater. And I really enjoyed it. And it revolves around this. I saw it again on YouTube just a little earlier today. And I showed like a little clip or two to my sister. And she said it looked okay. But I know Roland said it sounded like a cartoon. In a lot of ways, it could easily be an animated film because it's very cartoony in its own goofiness, you know. And what happens is these two guys go to this house, and it finds out that there's this guy's great grandfather had like a crystal skull, and they were talking about that. And they said these two are different. And he said the one his grandfather had these jewels and stuff on it, and they said that he had a partner that didn't look too happy he had that. And then apparently they dug him up, and then they found the skull was right there, and they get attacked by the grandfather, and they found that it's his grandson, and they call him Gramps, and he's being kept alive by the crystal skull. And he said his partner is a bad guy now to get him. And it turns out that the crystal skull makes the house like a gateway into different dimensions. And they go back to prehistoric times where they find like a pterodactyl baby bird and like a weird ostrich. Not ostrich, caterpillar puppy thing, which is cute but very weird. I know Fangoria tore that up. They said it was too overly cutesy and stuff like that. Like, I know they were making fun of Gizmo in Gremlins. How much they hated that. It's a very entertaining film. More, like I said, the first one that had a lot of tongue-in-cheek humor, and it had like really good humor to it. But it was also tried to be serious and try to set like a more serious tone. This one's more lighthearted and focuses more on comedy with horror elements and also action adventure in it. And Bill Maher's in it too. And I really like this movie. Ari Gross was starred in the film, and you don't see him in it at all anymore. But he was pretty big in the 80s and very, very early 90s. And John, like I said, with Cheers, George Wendt was in the first one, who played Norm on Cheers. Now in this one, John Ratzenberger played a character. I actually think John Ratzenberger did a better. He was full on Cliff. He played Cliff. He was an electrician in this, but he was full on Cliff mode, like on the show Cheers. If you liked him on Cheers, you'll like him in this. He was really good in this. And he was also, fun fact, he also played a small role in Gandhi as a little chauffeur. He was like in one scene. So he was in Gandhi, the movie Gandhi, the Academy Award-winning film. I remember seeing it, like I said, in the military movie theater, and it was packed, and the soldiers loved it. And there's a scene where John Ratzenberger is fighting these Aztecs, and then he does this. He hits one, and then he goes like this into the guy's face, and all the soldiers go ooh ah ooh ah ooh ah, and they cheered, and they loved that part. And there was like lots of laughs, and it's a very entertaining film. I get a full on 10 out of 10. A lot of people hated it. I know Bill Maher Bill Maher makes fun of some of the older films he did. You know, because I think on Politically Correct, he was someone was talking about bad movies, and Bill Maher said, I was in House 2, The Second Story. And then he was also making fun of his role in Cannibal Women in the Avocado Jungle of Death also. Well, anyways, it's a very good movie. I really like that. 10 out of 10. Now, I'm going to jump ahead. Now, this was an AIT. I saw it at the Signal Theater. Now, I'm going to jump ahead till 1991. Now, I was out of the Army, and, 91 or 92? The movie came out in 91. I think it was 92, after wintertime. And Golden Dawn was still around. Little did anyone know that, like, 9 years later, it was going to close down. Closed down like 2000, 2001. But that was the one we went to. We didn't go to Surefind that much. Now, Surefind's the only game in town, but we used to always go to Golden Dawn. And actually, the guy who owned the place said that we were their best customers. But they used to have a movie rental place there, like their own mom and pop, because a lot of people still had that. I know Surefind had one for a while, and then they got rid of that. And now Surefront has like something like Redbox, but it's called Frog TV. It's the only place I've ever seen that had Frog TV. They still have that. It's like a little thing right in the middle of the store. But with, I think they still have it. I have to check. But with Going Down, it was like, it was run behind the counter and stuff like that. And I saw House 4. House 4? Where the hell was House 3 at? Now, at the time, I got a subscription to Fangoria magazine for like 1 year. And it had a review of House 4 because it was like a brand new release that came out. I was one of the first people to rent it. And Fangoria said, this is something I found out about some movies in the international movie market. And Fangoria said, how come there's a House 4 when there wasn't a House 3? Basically what they said was, I'm going to get back to this other film. There was a movie that came out in 89 called The Horror Show. And in international markets, it was called House 3. So that's how, technically there was never a House 3, but because the international markets was called House 3, this movie is called House 4. Just like, I remember, later on, I remember Lucio Fulci, his 79 zombie film was called Zombie. However, now a lot of people call it Zombie 2. Even though technically there was, like, there's really not a Zombie 2 because in international markets, Dawn of the Dead, the George Romero film, was called Zombie. And then Lucio Fulci's film was called Zombie 2. Even though in the States it was called Zombie. And now it's called Zombie 2, but I still call it Zombie. And then he did a sequel to it, which wasn't very good. And they called it Zombie 3. There's technically wasn't a Zombie 2, but I don't know. It gets confusing. The only thing really good about Zombie 3 was okay. The only thing really good about that was the machete-wielding zombie. That zombie was awesome. That was a great scene. That was the best scene in the movie. So, getting back to The Horror Show, I keep wanting to call it The Last Horror Show, which is a great film that I didn't see till I was in 14th Street, Maryland, and it had Joe Spinell and Carolyn Monroe, who also starred in Maniac, which is also good, and Elijah Wood did a really good job in the remake of that, too. But The Last Horror Show with Joe Spinell was like this guy that wanted to make a movie. He was obsessed with this star and stuff. It was really cool. But this one was called The Horror Show. And it's really pretty lousy title. And basically it was a movie that came pretty much to like the movie Shocker, which was a big hit. I didn't get the chance to see it at the theater when I was in Germany. But I remember renting on video, and I remember buying the soundtrack, and the soundtrack was pretty cool. And I love Shocker. Shocker was pretty cool. That was a 10 out of 10. That was a really good Wes Craven film. But The Horror Show is pretty much similar to it. And there's a guy named Meat Cleaver Max or something like that, played by Brian James. He gets this detective helps bring him in. He gets electrocuted, but it doesn't take. And then he's haunting this family through different ways and stuff like that. And there's a scene. It's a pretty entertaining movie, but there's a really stupid scene where you're going to have Thanksgiving dinner and there's a turkey, and the turkey starts growing these sprouts or something like that, and you see the turkey's head turn like this, and it's Brian James's face on the turkey, and he starts talking, saying like, "Oh, your whole family's dead," and then they're like that, and then they show them and they're okay, and go, "Ah, just kidding, ah." That was fucking stupid. And if you thought that was stupid, I didn't think it would get stupider. In Fort Bragg, I remember renting Slumber Party Massacre 2, and they had a killer turkey in the film too. And speaking of that, because I've been thinking about this in my head, as a bonus, I wanted to include the franchise for Slumber Party Massacre, and also to throw in all three of the Slumber Party Massacre films, and also I wanted to throw in Sorority House Massacre. I don't have that much to say about that series. And also, since I'm doing it, I'm going to include my friend Ryan Benitez sent me a clip when I did his review of Shillolaghs and Tamoles, or I can't remember the name. He sent me a film clip, and I want to include that in this. Now, I want to start including those clips in some of my MRE reviews, because I edit them anyways, just for fun at the very end. There's like that, and like 3 trailers, just to show it, give it a little more exposure. And I'll put that clip at the end of this one since I'm editing it anyways. And it's going to be a long video anyways. I thought it'd be fun before the like the ending outros I have. Well, anyways, the horror show was alright. It's pretty decent. I give that I give it an 8 out of 10. I don't. It's not that memorable, but it was likable. And I like Lance Henriksen. Maybe I'll give it 8.5 8 out of 10. That turkey scene was so stupid. So I mean that was bad. And then now I go back to House 3, House 4. That's why the series was so weird, because of that fiasco. I don't think international markets do that anymore. I know that the Jaws series, there was actually this one Italian director did a movie called Cruel Jaws, and they called it Jaws 5 Cruel Jaws, even though there's not really a Jaws 5. That was just like an Italian gimmick to get people to see it. It's not Italian. I might see that movie when I talk about the Jaws franchise, maybe. But I mean, I'm not in no hurry to see it. I'll see it eventually. Maybe when I'm back at home from my sister's. And it's really cold out. It's weird because it's like it's March. As I'm recording this now, it's 12:31 a.m. and then it's supposed to set your clocks ahead an hour. So I'm going to lose an hour of my vacation because I'm on vacation. Which is going to be a staycation. I'll just stay around where I live and then around the Erie area, No, but it feels like it's like in January. We had some really cold days. But the snow's not too horrendous. It's like maybe 3 or 4 inches. That's not nothing, but it's just so damn cold out. It's really bad. Well, anyways, going to House 4. I don't remember House 4 that much. I think I saw it twice. William Katt's in it, and he plays a small role in it, and he plays a real jerk in this one. He's not the good guy that you remember. And I can't remember. It was called, I think, House 4 The Repossession, or House 4 Evil Dweller, or something like that. And there was a really disgusting scene about a giant vat of. This guy had some pump or something like that, some monster thing. He had a giant vat of phlegm. It's really disgusting. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I know it was really revolting. My dad said, "This is disgusting. I ain't watching this shit," and he didn't. And it's an okay film. I don't know. It's very forgettable. But I thought it was alright. I'd probably give it maybe a 6.5 out of 10. It tried to be a little more serious than the second one, but it wasn't nowhere near as good as the first one, or the second one, or even the third one. So, and that's pretty much it about the House franchise. They might try to make a remake of House, but it'll just be a haunted house film. I don't know if they're going to bother or not. But I did like the House series. It kind of went down a little bit, but it was still pretty good. Now on to Slumber Party Massacre. I remember seeing the very ads for the movie, and it was they said close your eyes for a second, sleep forever. And I was like, as a kid, because it came out in 81 or 82. As a kid, a little bit mystified by that. I mean, it's very vague about you're going to be killed and stuff like that, but it's just so vague. But it's a different tagline. It's not the most memorable one at all. And I remember renting it, and I think it was the first slash film I rented that was like 78 minutes long. And like I said, this came out. I remember seeing commercials for it on both Canadian and American TV. They showed a lot of commercials for it, but it played in the drive-ins and probably one theater. It might have played for like 2 weeks, and that was it. It was gone. And I think it was a Canadian film. And it revolves around these girls being stalked by this guy who has a giant drill bit. And the guy kind of looks like that, the Crazy Fuad Ramsey characters from, Crazy Fuad Ramsey guy from Blood Feast. And I really liked the movie. I thought it was a really good film. I really dug it. And I have a memory of that film. We rented it. And, of course, my mother was not at work or something like that. She was not around because she would not allow this. Because she was like, I don't know, she was a giant. She liked being a giant killjoy, destroying anyone's fun, That's just the kind of person she is. My dad, we had a TV tray out that, I don't know if they make those anymore with wheels and stuff. You put the TV on there, and it's like a tray that held the TV, and then on the bottom was a VCR. back in the day, and the very first VCR we had for a long time had a wire remote. You know, it plugged in a giant wire and it had the remote, and it lasts for a long time. We bought it in '85 maybe, and it lasts till like '92 or '93. It was a good remote. It was a good VCR. They made them really good back then. I still have a couple more, but I don't really use them at all anymore. What was I gonna say? What my dad wanted to do is sometimes we had some of the neighborhood kids over, and this one kid, I can't remember his name. My sister and myself, I think one or two other guys. My dad wanted to do like a driving experience type thing. It was in the summertime, and he had like extension cord, and he brought the TV out on the TV tray in the garage, and we had lawn furniture on the back porch. He brought it down like the big lawn thing, and then there's two things. We had it there, and the kids would just watch it, and we'd watch it like a drive-in movie. And I remember my dad went behind one of the kids and tried to scare him when he was watching the movie. He succeeded. Glad my dad didn't watch the film because there was lots of R-rated stuff, including nudity in it. I don't think my dad would have. I don't know if he would, but he knew it would probably be gruesome. He said, "I ain't watching it. It's going to be gruesome." And usually my parents forbid us from watching horror films, but they let us watch that one. So because my dad didn't know about it, my mother would have forbid it, like she would always do. But it's just the way it was, and she really hasn't changed that much. Now, in Fort, I never knew there was a Slumber Massacre 2 until I was in Fort Bragg at Try It First Video. And I guess Avco Embassy, they were around. I mean, they went out of business in 90 or 91 or something like that. And they released the movie Slumber Massacre 2. Now, in this one, it revolves around a girl band, and they're being stalked by this guitar player psycho that dressed like Andrew Dice Clay and looks like Jeff Conaway from Taxi, who sings. And this is actually kind of like a musical horror comedy thing or something like that. And he had like a guitar with a big drill bit that comes out of it. But the other guy had like a giant drill that had like a giant drill bit, a huge thing. This one had a guitar with a drill bit in it. And he would kill people this way. And like I said, they had the killer turkey in it. And Chris Bernard was in the film, and she is most well known at least at the time for the movie Wings, for the TV show Wings, which I hated the show Wings. I know my dad was a big fan. I didn't like the show Wings. I thought it was just a cheap ripoff of Cheers. Just like, I'm not that big on Parks and Recreation because I just think it was just like a ripoff of The Office, kind of just with a different setting. And the film. The first time I saw it, I was like, I don't know, but I've grown to love the film. I mean, it's not as good as the first one. The first one, the full-on 10 out of 10. This one is probably a 8.5 out of 10, maybe. It's so silly, though. I did like it. Let me see. Tony's messaging me. Whoop. Oh, cool. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, bro. He did some. I asked him to for some upcoming movie reviews because hopefully I plan on seeing Logan. I would like to see Logan, Fifth Wave, and then Masterminds and Brothers Grimsby, which were awesome. But I mean, I'm getting off track again. Did I put thank you? Okay. Like I said, I really liked. I ended up liking the second one. I mean, I've seen it 2 or 3 times, but nowhere near as good as the first one. The first one's the best one. Now, I heard in 91 or 92 that I think Concord made Slumber Massacre Part 3. And I was really excited to see it, but I wasn't able to see it I was working at this one place. I was on lunch break, and they had like a video rental store, but I don't have a membership there. I didn't want to get another membership. It was in Girard. I usually don't go there that much. I remember they had Slumber Massacre 3 and Alligator 2. 2 sequels I really wanted to see. And lo and behold, both sequels sucked really bad. Especially Slumber Massacre 3. They didn't even try in this one. It was just so damn boring. The killer was lame. It was awful. I absolutely hated it. That was a full-on 0 out of 10. And I didn't think Alligator 2 was much better because I reviewed that earlier on in the summertime. I think. I'm glad I finally saw it though. But I think Alligator 2 might have been like a smidgen, like a, I don't know, maybe hair bit better than Slumber Party Massacre. But I don't want to give it any credit at all because I hated both of those films. So that's pretty much about the Slumber Party Massacre films. Your best bet is to go with the first one, and then check out the second one if you want. I know Cinema Snob did a really good video about the movie, but he gives away too many spoilers. So, but he is just trying to be funny about describing the film. Hold on. Oh, wait a second. I haven't seen it yet. Tony asked me if I saw Logan. I haven't seen it yet. Hopefully this coming weekend I'll be able to see it because John Walkowitz wanted to take me to see it. Yep, with my buddy John, because John wanted to see it too, and I don't blame him. I definitely want to see the movie Logan. Like I said, definitely check out the first Slumber Party Massacre. It's really good. Now, next is Sorority House Massacre series, and most people, I don't think anyone's done a video. I'm sure they've done reviews of it, but I don't think anyone's talking about the franchise Sorority House Massacre, and most people don't remember it. What happened was I was at Try It First Video, and they used to. Oh, cool. Tony said he saw Kong. It was awesome, too. I want to see Kong Skull Island also. I remember Try It First Video. They used to sell, like, previously viewed films. And usually around $3, $4, $5. Maybe it was $3.95 that I got for it. Well, some were $5 and then some were like $3.95. And they had Rich Hall's Vanishing America, which I wanted to see, but it was on Betamax, and that was the very last film I ever seen on Betamax. I ended up getting that on video back in '95, and it's a great. It's not a film; it's a Showtime special for Rich Hall. And they had Slumber Party Massacre there. I think it was $3.95. It was on Warner Brothers Video, and it was weird. It was another short flash film. It was like 74 minutes, and I remember seeing it. I really liked it. It's basically like a slasher going around with the girls in the sorority, but I thought it was very good. I know my friends across in Fort Bragg in the barracks, can't remember their names, they asked if they could borrow it. I said sure, and they brought it back about 2 hours later, and they said this is the dumbest thing we've ever seen, but I liked the film. I think I let my other friend Hoppy watch it, and he hated it too, but I liked it. And then I give that, as far as I'm concerned, I give it 10 out of 10. It was really perfect. And then I guess on Showtime or HBO, they made a second one in 91 or 92. And I saw that and I thought it was excellent. I don't remember. I've only seen it once. I don't remember it at all. But it moved at a great pace. I thought it was excellent. I don't have a lot to say about these two movies, but I thought I'd mention it. Anyways, I give that 10 out of 10. And I hope you all like this this film franchise thing of the House movie franchise, Slumber Party Massacre movie franchise, and probably never to be talked about again, Sorority House Massacre franchise. Just because, not that they're bad movies, just because no one really knows them. No one really has. I don't have any fond memories of them. So I hope you like this video, and I hope you like the scene I'm going to put for Shalolis that Ryan Benitez sent me. Let's see what Tony said. Tony wanted to know if I wanted to do a WrestleMania predictions video. I said, okay, I can do that. He asked me to. I can do that. He wanted me to do a predictions video. I can do that. And like I said, I hope you like this thing of the house film franchise. Filmed it's kind of weird to film both at my place when I had hair and at my sister's when I didn't have hair. So I thought this would be the big reveal. And I hope you like this video. And I hope you like this clip from the movie Shillelagh. So until next time, everybody, please take care of my legion. And thank you, Tony Talant, for making me the cool thumbnail for this film. For this film franchise thing. Even though I didn't include some probably Massacre and Sorority House. That's just extra that I put on there. So I hope you like the super, super long video. Alright. Take care, everybody, and take care of my legion.
Hey guys, I'll sell you some Shillelaghs, alright? Pretty good price. Better than trombones. Alright?
Now what the hell is a Shillelagh? Huh? What is a Shillelagh?
What's a Shillelagh, you say? This guy. I don't pay you to ask those kind of questions, do I?
The only thing is you don't pay me. Not at all.
I'll pay you in trombones, though. Good price.
Now, what the hell is a trombone? Like, explain. Like, I've never heard that term used.
Again, with all your questions. I'm done with you. Get out. Go over to the library, man. I can't do it anymore. Selling trombones.